Okay everybody, I'm going to show you today how to do the SVG files and Inkscape and create layered decals, vinyl, whatever you want to call it, like these right here, all of these different layers and images, so on. This one here was very complicated, has probably 9 to 10 different layers in it. So the first thing you want to do is I posted a link to Inkscape in the page, in the group. So if you haven't uploaded or downloaded Inkscape, I would suggest you do that. When you open Inkscape, this is what it should look like. Don't be intimidated by all of this. You will probably never use 90% of this, especially if the only thing you want to do with Inkscape is create SVGs. So the first thing you do is go to File, Document Properties, and you want to change the display from millimeters to pixels. Okay. We're going to come back to this and remove the border, and I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. So go to File, Import, and then you find the file that you want to create the SVG with, or if you want to just create your own design in there, that would be fine as well. Miss Tina asked for some help with this photo. I tried to do it on my phone and upload it, but Facebook said it was too big. I couldn't even email it to her, so we're going to do it today. Just click on it, and I never change any of this, just leave this alone and put your image in here and adjust it however you want it. Okay, now if you notice the arrows on it, that means your image is selected and you can modify that image. If you click it again, the arrows change, and this allows you to rotate the image. So if you do something in Inkscape that you don't want to do or made a mistake, just hit Control Z and it will undo it. So with your image highlighted, you're going to go to Path, Trace, Bitmap. Okay, it's going to open this window. The first thing you want to do is click on Remove Background and untick this smooth, because if you leave it smooth, it's going to be blurry. I don't know why, it just does. I never mess with any of this or click on any of these other tabs. I usually only use colors or grays. So before we get started, let's click on Live Preview so you can see your image here. And let's do colors. Now your scans here means you're going to have 8 layers right now. We don't want 8 layers. 8 layers is probably going to be too much. So let's start adjusting this until this picture looks good, but the lowest number we can get to. Okay, if you notice on 3, the yellow disappeared, and so did the gray. So let's go back up to 4 and 5, and 5 layers. That looks pretty good to me. You could go 6. I'm not sure what is going on. I think it's just more of an outline. So let's just leave it at 5. Now, notice where these arrows are here. Excuse me again. Click OK. And if you notice, the arrows moved over. So let's close this window and I'll show you why the arrows moved over. If you click it and highlight it and just move it over, click and hold, this is what you just created. This is your original artwork. They look almost identical, but if you look closer, this one is a little bit crisper than this actual photo here. So you highlight this one, your original, and then just hit delete on your computer keyboard. Scoot this up, adjust your image to where you want it. Alright, so from here, go back to Document Properties and remove the page border. I'm pointing to my screen. Remove the page border because if you don't, it will have a border on it. The reason I don't do this beforehand is because if you accidentally put your image here, when you save it, it's going to cut this part off. Everything on the outside of that border is going to get cut off. So I always leave the border on until the very end, and then I remove the border. Once you're done with that, you can just go to File, Save As. I created a folder for just my SVG files, but for today we're just going to leave it in my Cricut folder. So you're going to want to save as type, change Inkscape to plain SVG, and we're going to name this Tina. And just click Save. Alright, once you do that, you're done. You just created an SVG. It's very simple, easy. Just follow those rules, play around with it. Those steps are pretty easy. It's what, 5 or 6 little steps that you have to take, and you've saved your SVG. So now let's upload it to Cricut Design Space. Just go to Upload, find your image. SVGs will not have a preview thumbnail like these do for some reason. I'm sure it's a setting on my computer, but I haven't messed with it. So highlight it and click Open. If you notice, you cannot edit an SVG in Design Space. So whatever you save it, however you save it, that's what it's going to be. So click Save. Highlight it just like you normally would. Insert image. Once it loads in there, I always make sure I'm about 75%. I move it over to the middle, and then I make it big enough that I can see what's going on. Now, if you look over here, you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. Even though there was 5 scans, we only have 4 layers. The first thing I do once I'm ready to start editing on this is I duplicate this image, and then I hide the duplicate. That way if I mess up, I have a copy. Then I highlight this one and ungroup all of these layers. And there you go. You see you have all of these different layers. Now the blue guy here, he's fine. Actually, what I would do is just hide him because we're not going to change anything on him. That's what's going to be cut out as your main background because the guy is blue. So I just hide him. But this yellow, we only need 3 pieces of this, and that's the headband and the bottom of the shoes. So you know, you don't want to use a whole piece, that whole big old piece. That's just wasting vinyl, and it's gonna just be your vinyl will be very thick. So instead of using this guy here, let's use this gray guy and duplicate and then hide it. Highlight this one, line these 2 up, align center, and then once I have them aligned, then I'm just going to hit slice and then start deleting the pieces that I don't need, like that one. This is the one I need, not this one. So now I've got this one here. Zoom out just a little bit. So nope, let's zoom back in. Move these out of the way. So you see, here's your headband that you had, and here's your shoes, but now you got all this other stuff. So just highlight it and go to contour. It's quicker if you hide all. You notice one piece is going to stay because you can't hide everything. You have to have at least one. You could scroll each piece and find it and click on it, but sometimes it's easier when it's just 2 or 3 just to do it this way. If you can get them highlighted and then hit unhide or hide that one, and now you see you have your yellow. Okay, and then I just hide the yellow. Now we need the gray, and so in order to do that, let's bring the black outline to the front, because the only thing that should be gray are the pieces of the airplane. So duplicate the black just in case, as usual, hide it, then align these two. Looks like that snapped together there, but just in case, let's go to align and center. And once you do, dadgummit, hit undo, select all, and once again slice. Move what you don't need out of the way and delete, because you see his teeth changed. So delete this one, delete that one, and now here you go. So out of this gray, you can go back into contour. Let me change it. Let me scoot this over a little bit first so you can see it. And then go to contour. Once again, contour all. Move into your image. Well, I can't see that one, so let me zoom in. Right, there it is. Okay, so now you gotta untick that, because obviously you can't have no pieces of the image showing. You have to have at least one. Once you're done, close that. There's your gray piece. So you can unhide your black again, and you can line it up, and you can unhide your yellow and line it up. Can't center or use these align buttons anymore because the image is changed. Their size is changed. There you go. And now unhide Mr. Blue, and if you move him over, there you go. And that's it, with the exception of one thing. Let's put a shape in here real quick. And change the color to red. And send to back. Now I want you to see his eyes and his teeth and the white parts are not showing up. So if you don't fix that, obviously you're going to have gaps there. So in order to fix that, what you're going to have to do is figure out which one of these pieces you're going to need to slice. Obviously it's not the gray. It's not going to be the yellow. It's either going to be, well, you know what, let's use this gray guy here, because that looks more looks like it may be more cleaner. That was the word I was trying to spit out. Couldn't spit it out. So let's highlight that one. Hold down Control and highlight that one. Let's move this down here out of the way. Once you have them both and you have them where you want them, and they're both highlighted, just hit Slice. And then once again, just start deleting the extra pieces that you no longer need till you get to this part, Contour. I hide all, and then I go in here and choose what I need. Scroll down. There you go. We're going to leave it red, even though we know Miss Tina is going to print it white. Because if you leave it white, you won't be able to see it. And sometimes when you make copies and duplicates and everything, you may have to adjust it, the size a little bit. You see the gaps are showing. Let me unhide the rest of that picture. And you can see that the red is still has gaps in it. So we need to adjust that. And you would just drag it, unlock it, drag it to where you want it to try to get the gaps to close the best you can. Send it to the front while we're adjusting. There we go. It's going to be pretty good right there. It's about as good as it's going to get. Your gaps will hide in the black. When you lay the black over it, you should hide it, what little gaps are left. But you get the picture. So there you go. That's how you do it. You create the SVG, then you create the file. You know what we could actually do is duplicate this, contour this piece, hide the eyes, hide the feet part to where we just have the teeth, move them over, unlock, and get them about perfect there. Then you could do the same thing, blah blah blah, and so on and so on. So there's different options you can do, different ways of doing things. Just play around with it. You're going to figure out what works best for you, and that's what you'll do. You could actually, let's show you this too. I'm trying not to make this video very long, but you could actually just take a square, adjust it, change the color to red, which would actually be white when you make it. And then send it to the back like that. Then it shouldn't be a gap there. Do the same thing, but this time instead of a square, let's use the octagon. Unlock it so you can adjust it and transform it. change the color to red. And you're just going to place it over your image like so. And send to the back. Now there's no gaps at all. Same thing, you could just actually just go in here and then contour this one, erase everything, hide all contours, unhide that one, unhide that one, hide that one. So there's several different ways you can do this. It's just a preference of what you want to do and feel comfortable with. Get it lined up. There you go. And so now you have it. There's your image. First thing I would do is highlight everything else once I'm done and click attach or group. Actually, I'd probably just a group because attach would probably change the colors. So just group everything together. This one didn't group, but you could put it in there like that. Okay. So there's your image. Now when you layer this on top of each other, you might have a little issue. Let me adjust this one here real quick. We got to ungroup it. There we go. So what you want to do is use markers. And the way I use markers is I would put in a heart or something, some shape. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers because of the red that we put behind it. So I would need 5 hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Highlight. Align center. Make them, well, it doesn't really matter yet. Highlight them all. Align center. And then you would want to move it to wherever you want your marker to be. Let's duplicate that one and put one down here as well. So now you have all of these hearts over here. If you'll notice, these here are highlighted, so you would go in, start there, and hide everything except the last one. When it disappears, re-click it. And then you go down here, hide all of these till you get to the last one and it disappears, and then click it. Highlight that one, highlight that one, change their color to blue, and then you find your blue guy, hold shift to click to hold him, and then you would attach. Okay, then hide it. Find your next, unlock your next heart. Select both of those. Select your next, let's do red next. Red. So you go down and you find all your red pieces. And once again, click attach. Then you hide. Then you do it again. Unheart. Unlock a heart there. Unlock a heart there. Let's do gray this time. So scroll down and find your gray, because those hearts are already gray. And attach. Then hide. Then you go. Uh-oh, something didn't work right. So undo. There's only 2 hearts. So undo everything till we get to the attach there. Alright, got red, blue. Now unhide that heart, unhide that heart, scroll up. That's what I didn't do. Highlight the gray, and then hit attach. Then hide. Unhide the heart, unhide the heart. Let's change them to black. Then highlight your black outline and hit attach. Then hide. Now you have left is yellow, so you unhide, you unhide your last two hearts. Change those to yellow. Then highlight all of your pieces. Make sure they're all highlighted, and then click attach. Okay, so now you've attached everything, and all you have to do is go back, unhide everything, put them back in order. So your red, as you see, you don't want it like that. So highlight your red and arrange, send back. That's it. So when you layer it, all you would do is click on make it, and you see your hearts are going to stay in the exact same spot that they were. So when you get to peeling and layering everything on top of each other, you line up your hearts. If you line up your hearts exactly right, everything else should line up perfectly. But I mean, this is a whole lot of wasted gray right here, gray vinyl. So what I would do in this case is I would turn this sideways like this as much as I could. Well, it's because the image is so big. She probably doesn't want it this big, but you can see what I'm talking about. I would turn it sideways, and then I would only use maybe a 2 or 3 inch strip to cut that part out and not waste all of this. Same thing goes with this. I don't know if I would cut that hard out, but just cut out a square and be done with it. Same thing goes with here. I would probably use a 2 or 3 inch piece for here, a 2 or 3 inch piece for here, or exactly. Actually, in this case, I would probably just put some scrap yellow here, and then I would manually place these 3 little pieces onto the blue, because it's pretty simple. It's not that difficult. Just place it over this blue when you cut it out. Line it up, and then place your black over top of that. And that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Be sure and like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to share the group. We want to continue to grow. And if you have suggestions for tutorials, let us know. The admins and moderators would be happy to make as many as we can if we know how to do it. If not, we'll learn so we can teach you. So hit that like button, subscribe, go to our Facebook page, share this page, like the page, get as many people as you can to join. If you have any questions, let us know.